The vast blue ocean stretched endlessly around the marine research vessel as Emma and her German shepherd, Jeff, stood on deck, watching the waves. They had joined a team of scientists on an expedition to study a newly discovered coral reef, teeming with life and colors Emma had never imagined. The sun was shining, and the sea breeze was cool, carrying the sounds of seabirds and the gentle lapping of water against the ship. For days, Emma and Jeff had enjoyed the adventure, exploring the reef and assisting the scientists with their research. Jeff loved it too, his nose twitching at the scent of salty air, his ears perked with excitement. But one calm evening, as the crew gathered for dinner, the peace was shattered by the distant hum of an approaching boat. Emma looked up, squinting at the horizon. There, a small but fast vessel was speeding toward them. The scientists assumed it was another research team or passing fisherman, until the strangers climbed aboard, shouting commands, their faces masked. They were pirates, modern-day thieves of the seas. "Hand over the research data," one of the pirates barked, brandishing a knife. The crew was forced to give up their valuable equipment, cameras, and even the reef samples they'd collected. Emma clutched Jeff close, her heart pounding as the pirates barked out orders and seized the crew's belongings. Before Emma could react, she and Jeff were separated from the others and herded onto the pirates' boat. They were being taken as hostages, brought along to a small, deserted island visible in the distance. The vessel rocked over the waves, and Emma held Jeff tightly, his body tense and alert. The boat reached the island, and Emma and Jeff were pushed off onto the sand. She looked around. The island was small, with dense tropical forests, rugged cliffs, and rocky coves scattered along the shore. The pirates sneered, warning her not to try escaping, and then sped off back to the research vessel, leaving Emma and Jeff stranded. Emma took a deep breath, fighting panic. "Well, Jeff, it looks like it's just us now," she whispered. Jeff barked softly, nuzzling her hand as if to reassure her. She patted his head. "We'll find a way out of this. I promise." Their first priority was finding shelter, so they ventured into the forest, keeping low and moving quietly. The island was quiet, save for the occasional bird call and the rustling of leaves. Jeff's ears were alert, his nose constantly sniffing the air, his instincts on high alert. After exploring the forest, they stumbled upon a cave nestled into a cliffside. It was dark and dry, with a view of the beach that allowed them to watch for any returning pirates. Emma gathered a few large leaves to create a makeshift bed, and they settled down, huddling together as the sun began to set. That night, Emma could barely sleep, her mind racing with plans for escape. She knew they needed to recover the stolen research. The data was priceless, and the coral samples would be difficult to replace. And, of course, they needed to find a way to signal for rescue. But it was a vast island, and she had no idea where the pirates had stashed the equipment. In the morning, Emma woke to find Jeff already sniffing around the cave entrance. His ears twitched, and he let out a low growl. She followed his gaze down to the beach and gasped. The pirates had returned to the island, their boat now docked along the shore. Emma and Jeff crouched low, watching as the pirates unloaded bags of supplies and boxes from their boat. They carried them toward a hidden cove farther down the beach, disappearing into a secluded area. When the coast was clear, Emma and Jeff crept out from their hiding spot and followed their tracks in the sand, careful to stay out of sight. The trail led them to a rocky outcropping with a hidden entrance covered by vines and driftwood. Emma peeked through the vines and saw a stash of stolen items. The crew's cameras, research samples, and radios were all piled inside. Jeff's eyes gleamed, and he looked up at Emma, as if waiting for her plan. "All right, Jeff," she whispered. "We need to get that radio and signal for help. But first, we need to distract the pirates." Using her wits, Emma gathered some driftwood and stones, arranging them to create a trail leading away from the stash. Jeff sniffed around the area, leaving his scent in different places to further confuse their captors. With everything set, they returned to the hidden cove and waited. Soon, the pirates returned. One of them noticed the driftwood trail and cursed. "Someone's been here. Check it out," he said, motioning for the others to follow him down the path Emma had created. As the pirates moved away, Emma and Jeff sprang into action. They hurried into the stash, grabbing a radio and one of the crew's GPS devices. Jeff, acting on instinct, grabbed a small pouch containing the coral samples, gently holding it in his mouth. They dashed back into the forest, making their way toward a cliff that overlooked the open sea. Emma turned on the radio, frantically calling for help, hoping that the crew had managed to get their own boat free. "Mayday. This is Emma Parker, stranded on an island off the coast. We've been taken captive by pirates, and we have valuable research data with us. Please, if anyone can hear this," she repeated the message, her heart pounding. Suddenly, voices crackled over the radio. "Emma, this is the Coast Guard. We've received your message and are en route to your coordinates. Hang tight." Relief washed over Emma, but they weren't safe yet. The pirates must have realized the distraction and were returning to the stash. She grabbed Jeff and ducked into a small, hidden cove along the rocky shoreline. They waited in silence, listening as the pirates stormed through the forest, shouting and cursing, clearly realizing they'd been outwitted. Jeff, sensing her fear, nuzzled her hand, his body tense but ready. Emma held him close, whispering, "Good boy, Jeff. We're almost there." The sound of boat engines rumbled in the distance. Emma dared to peek around the rocks and saw a Coast Guard vessel approaching, its crew scanning the shore. She waved her arms, shouting, "Over here." The pirates spotted the approaching rescue team and scrambled to their boat, abandoning their loot in a desperate attempt to escape. But it was too late. The Coast Guard intercepted them, and within minutes, the pirates were handcuffed and taken into custody. The Coast Guard crew helped Emma and Jeff onto their vessel, giving them water and blankets. As the island disappeared behind them, Emma took a deep breath, finally relaxing. Back on the research ship, the crew cheered as they reunited with Emma and Jeff, who had not only outsmarted their captors but recovered the precious research data. The scientists thanked her profusely, and one of the crew members even gave Jeff a medal they fashioned from a bottle cap, calling him the hero of the high seas. As the sun set over the ocean, Emma hugged Jeff close, whispering, "We did it, boy. We really did it." And together, they watched the waves as the research ship sailed back to safety, leaving behind their